So we move to Micronesia. Now, Micronesia is more socially stratified than what we see elsewhere in parts of Oceania. We see chieftains along with specialized artisans. Now, this says something about a society. Obviously, leaders are kind of a different category, but if we can have specialized artisans, in other words, people who are not involved in food production or in any way really involved in a necessary process to the survival of the society, that means that they have excess human resources. It means that we have a fairly successful society. And they have decided that those artisans are important enough to set aside. We see religions, which include deities, as well as ancestor worship. And of course, ancestor worship we see all over the world. We see a focus on seafaring. Now, looking at the map, that's not surprising. We have a lot of very small islands spread over a large area of the Pacific, so of course they're going to be seafaring. It wouldn't make a lot of sense not to be. And most of the imagery that we see out of Micronesia will be related to the sea. And we're actually starting with the Caroline Islands, which is a very small section of islands in the Pacific. We're north of Papua New Guinea, to give you some idea of the larger picture of where we are. This is the largest island group in Micronesia, and most of the art seeks to protect sea travel. So, why? When you travel at sea, things can get dangerous very, very quickly. First of all, they're in fairly small boats. We're talking boats that are frequently 20 to 30 feet at most. This would be a very, very small boat. And the weather, especially in the Pacific, in the area that they live in, can change dramatically and quickly. It would seem to most people to be nearly unpredictable. I mean, after all, you can have a beautiful calm day and then there's a typhoon, or you have squalls moving across, or any number of other issues. And we see this with all seafaring peoples. They tend to become superstitious at some level. They want protection from the unpredictability of the sea. Heck, we see it on the Great Lakes. Think of the Edmund Fitzgerald or anyone who has ever hung around near the Great Lakes, and you see those storms come in, you see things kick up in a very unpredictable manner. So we tend to see ornaments. And in this case, we're looking at a canoe prow ornament, or an ornament that would go on the bow, the very front of a canoe. And this was meant to protect during long sea voyages. It is sort of a symbol that brings fortune from the gods to the voyage. Again, not that unusual. We see the same thing in European ships during the period of exploration, for example. They would lower this piece to signal a peaceful journey. Now, this becomes an important symbol. Imagine you're on one of these islands. You're looking out to sea. You're probably holding a coconut with a straw and a beautiful drink, and you're reclining on a... Sorry, wrong fantasy. You're on the beach, you're looking out, you see a boat coming in. Now, you very quickly have to determine, is this someone who's trying to trade with you, or is it someone who's trying to attack you? This prow ornament would serve that purpose. They would lower it to signal a peaceful journey. In other words, I'm coming to trade, I have goods, or maybe I have news, something along those lines. But they're not permanently attached to the boat. And here we see one of those prow ornaments currently in use, and we get an idea of what these boats look like today. They're not massive. I mean, it would be a very small boat for an open ocean voyage to us. And the prow ornament that we're looking at could be a couple of different things. It may represent two sandpipers, these beach-going birds. It would be fortuitous. Or it could be stylized humans. So the beaks, or what appear to be beaks, could in fact be arms. Here's legs, that sort of thing. We're not entirely sure. Of course, they're not often writing about these things, and oftentimes these groups will have different interpretations. One island could interpret it one way, one another, or it could be a design that's been passed down generation to generation. We always use this design. And the original origin of the design could well be lost. I mean, just imagine that little symbol for a phone that you see in airports and hospitals and other places. Well, it's a handset for a landline phone. What's going to happen in 3 generations when landline phones don't exist anymore? And now we have a picture. We all know what it means, but we don't know the origin. That could well be the situation here.